Then, of course, we have the big deal here. This is the big deal, right? We have got present value random variables, right? The life and soul of life actuaries, right? Present value random variables for long-term insurance coverage, right? And then we have premium and policy value calculation for long-term insurance coverage. Now, the reason this is here, long-term insurance, because of this thing here, okay? We are only dealing with long-term, yeah? Life insurance mathematics. Hello everyone, welcome to this introductory video on the fundamentals of actuarial mathematics exam preparation course. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself, right? I am Ravi Menon. I am an associate professor of actuarial science in the University of Malaya. And I have been teaching actuarial courses, SOA and IFOA exam-based courses for a long time now. I have been with University of Malaya since 2006 teaching these courses, and we are going to provide an exam preparatory course for exam FAM. Okay? Before we go into the details, at a glance, right, what are we looking at? Yeah, at a glance. So we know that every one of us who aims to become an actuary, credentialed by the Society of Actuaries, we have to take this exam, FAM. Okay? So if you have taken the STAM exam before, I repeat, if you have taken the STAM exam before and passed it, then you only need to take the FAM-L exam. What's that? L for long term. Okay? So if you have taken the LTAM exam before, okay, let me show you something on the screen first. There you go. Okay. So if you have taken the LTAM exam before, then, and passed it, you only have to take the FAM-S exam. Okay, so let me say that again, right? To make sure all of us are on the same page. If you, because this involves the transition, right? It's the transition stage. And so if you have taken the STAM exam and passed it, you only take the FAM-L exam. If you have passed the LTAM exam previously, then you only take the FAM-S exam. Okay, now we've got it. Now, if you have not taken STAM and if you have not taken LTAM, then you have to take the whole exam, FAM. Now, this thing only works until until the July sitting of 2024. Okay, after that sitting, folks, after that sitting, July 2024, again, July 2024, you don't have it. So everyone has to take the FAM exam. This L and S is just to facilitate the transition process. That's about it. Okay, so the FAM exam itself, okay, it's 3.5 hours long. Okay, let me say that again. The FAM exam, yeah, the FAM exam is 3.5 hours long, 40 multiple choice questions. Let me write that out for you. Okay, the FAM exam is 3.5 hours long, and you will be looking at a 40 question exam, right? So let me write it here. We have got 40 questions, yeah? This is for the FAM exam. And now, if you are looking at the transition period, like until July 2024, and if you only have to take the FAM-L exam, that exam is 1.75 hours long, and it's only got 20 questions. Okay? So it's got 20 questions, and the FAM-S exam, you will take it if you have passed the LTAM exam before, and that will also run for 1.75 hours. Okay? Let me say it again, if you have not heard it correctly. The FAM-L exam will be 1.75 hours, and the FAM-S exam will be 1.75 hours. Let me remind you, right? After July 2024, well, there's no L and there's no S. It's just one exam, FAM. And also, right, if you have not taken the STM and the LTM exams before, you have no choice, you take the whole exam even now. Okay? So now that you know what you're getting into, it's basically, one exam is about life insurance mathematics, right? That's long term, okay? Life insurance mathematics, that's long term. And the other exam is S, which is short term mathematics, where we are dealing with, in this part of the world, right? We call it general insurance, okay? General insurance. In the US, they call it PNC, yeah? Property and casualty insurance. So we have short-term mathematics, FAMS, and we have long-term mathematics, which is FAML. Okay, now that we know about these things, the form of the exams that you have to take, let me look at my PDF, right, and then go through some of these things. Let's start slowly, yeah? The exam, right, the FAM exam, some people like this, yeah, some people like this. So what am I going to say? It's a computer-based exam. It's A, B, C, D, E, multiple choice, right? So some people like these kinds of exams. So it's a multiple choice test and 40 questions for FAM exam. So if you're not sure of a response, guess. You're not going to lose out, right? Just guess and don't have to worry. Yeah? And if you can rule out, let's say, if you can rule out certain some answers, then you improve your chances of getting it right if you just guess. Okay, great. That's a bit of a lighter moment, right? But basically, if we want to know the material, we don't want to give our room for too much guesswork, right? Anyway, so the SOA website, right, folks, has a lot of information on the exam. Has a lot of information on the exam. Things like what? Things like the nature of the exam that I just told you about the tables that you will be given for the exam, the recommended text, all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of information there. Just go ahead to the website and you can read it. But I've just given you a summary of the things that we need. And so, folks, about the length of the exam, 1 3/4 hours is 50% of FAM when you take the L exam, 1 3/4 hours if you take the S part of the exam. So I think that it's a systematic. You need to have a systematic approach to studying this. Yeah, a systematic approach. So as you can see, right, I've written from the Society of Actuaries webpage. You have A, B, C, D, E, right? If you can rule out 3 of the answers, right? If you can rule out 3 of the answers, hey, and if you don't know which one it is, just make a guess, right? You have a 50% chance of getting it right. So anyway, let's leave there, right? Okay, enough about the exam. What are we going to do? We are going to have, there'll be a lot more detail at the end, right? But there'll be 2 workshops. Workshop 1 will be focusing on FAML, okay? And workshop 2, which we will start in September, will focus on FAMS, okay? So FAML, we will start with FAML, sometime end of April, and we'll take you to the July 2023 exam. Then the one when we start in September, we'll take you for the November 2023 exam. So if you have not taken LTM and if not taken STM, we are preparing ourselves for the FAM exam in November 2023. Take it once and pass it. Okay? It's an exhaustive exam and you want to take it once and you want to pass it. Okay? And move on, right? Whether you choose to do ALTM later on or whether you choose to do ASTM later on, that's up to you. But this one, take it once and pass it, right? Okay. I want to tell you about the long-term portion of the exam first, okay? And the text, right, for this exam is the Actuarial Mathematics for Life Contingent Risk, right? So let me get my pen and we'll indicate some things here. This is the text, yeah? This is the recommended text, folks, okay? And I will be going through the text in my classes. And it's very important that you know what's in the text, okay? The examiner, right? When they set the exam questions, they'll be looking at the textbook. See what is the material that you've covered, what are the exercises in the textbook that they've covered, and that's how they're going to test you, right? So we need to know what's in the book. It's stated very clearly in in your syllabus or the Society of Actuaries requirements, this is the text. I've taken this from the web page, right? So you have the textbook, the 3rd edition, and these chapters. The chapters, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 18, right? I will tell you more about this in our second video, okay? The second video will be specifically for FAML, because that's what we're starting with end of April, okay? Like for instance, right, chapter 1 is things on life insurance coverages. They talk about life insurance annuities, health insurance coverage. They'll talk about continuing care and stuff like that, right? And then chapter 2, they talk about survival models. Chapter 3, in the textbook, they talk about life tables. And then chapter 4, they talk about what? Life insurance mathematics. And then chapter 5, they talk about annuities. Big things for us, right? In life insurance, those are big things. And then we have chapter 6, where we do premium calculations. And in chapter 7, we do policy values, okay? Reserves. So those things, and finally, I have not left out chapter 18. Chapter 18 is about estimating survival models, okay? Where we study things like the Kaplan-Meier model, and we study things like Nelson-Allen, and those are all based on a lot of how do you deal with data, right? How do you data, and it's data intensive, and how do you work out survival distributions based on the data and so on. Yeah, so that's why we call it estimating survival models. Yeah, it's an estimation. Okay, great. So enough about that. On the next, what you'll see next, right? Give me a second. Let me erase this. What appears next, right? What appears next is from the Society of Actuaries webpage. You will see the broad topics, right? We are going to cover under FAML. I repeat, FAML. Yeah. So these are the weights here. Don't worry too much about the weights, right? Don't worry too much about the weights. We will talk about these weights later on. The reason they have these weights, right, is to give you an idea of the relative importance of these topics, these subtopics, right? For example, you have got insurance coverages and retirement financial security programs, right? That chapter, right, that section involves a lot of reading. A lot of remembering some facts about examples, right? Types of life insurance products that they have in the market, annuities, types of annuity products, you have, disability insurance, all this kind of insurance coverages that are available in the market, right? So a bit of reading to do. I'll give you a summary of those when you attend my class, yeah? Then we have mortality models, yeah, mortality models, as you can expect, yeah. We will have things like the Maker model, and we will talk about some basic survival models and so on, right? So that's no big deal, which extends into parametric, yeah, and non-parametric estimation, right? So non-parametric estimation, I told you just now, right? We are dealing with things like Nelson-Allen and Kaplan-Meier, but these are things, right? If you learn it properly, right, they're really easy to do. Yeah, Nelson-Allen, Kaplan-Meier, and all these, right? They are extremely easy to do. Just a matter of setting your mind to it. This is how it's done. Learn how it's done. Learn how it's done correctly, and it's really easy to do. Okay. So then we have the most important things in our lives, right? Life insurance mathematics, present value random variables. Right? We have a random variable. We have a random variable. In the famous random variable for us is what? T, right? Is our future lifetime random variable. We don't know when somebody aged X is going to die. So that's a random variable. So we don't know when he's going to die. That's a random variable, fine. But we are now at the present moment. So what do we need to do? We need to bring him back. That's why they call it a present value random variable. So when you have a random variable, and what do we do in statistics? We need expectations. We need variances. That's the thing that we're going to do, right? So present value random variables for long-term insurance coverage, and we have premium and policy value calculation for long-term insurance. These are the broad topics, right? Premiums, as you can imagine, we need to find how much somebody has to pay when you buy a policy. Policy value calculation basically is we are dealing with how much money we need to set aside in reserves for future commitment. That's it. So all of these things we are going to cover. Okay, I will take you through these things and in detail with ideas thrown in the first 45 minutes of my class. We have to work through examples. We have to work through some of the sample questions. I might not work through all the sample questions, right? Because you know why? It's available on the internet, and you can just go and work out the solutions, look up the solutions yourself. But I want to tell you about how to deal with these things, right? When you see this, what should jump out at you? So that is FAML. Now let's move to FAMS, right? I'll tell you briefly about FAMS, okay? I will talk about FAMS in greater detail when we are about to start the course sometime in August, right? Okay, but briefly, right, briefly, what are we doing in FAMS? Remember, short-term mathematics. So short-term mathematics, in this section, we have 3 textbooks to cover though. I mean, not all of it, but quite a few things. We have Loss Models by Klugman, good. Okay, that's a famous textbook, right? And Stuart Klugman is a famous actuary, and so that's his book we'll be covering. And then we have the book by Brown, Reserving. It used to be just Reserving, but now it's got Rate Making and Reserving. And then we have a book by Bloom on health insurance. So we're going to cover ideas from these 3 books. And the other thing, right, before I tell you more about these, I just want to bring your attention to these, right? Like I said, right, FAMS, I am going to talk about it in greater detail. A lot of things in FAMS, a lot of things, right? I wish I can tell you it's, nothing to worry about. We need to work it, yeah? Work through the examples. There's, look at this, right? We have insurance and reinsurance coverage. We have got severity. What is severity? The size of the claim, right? The size of the claim. When you have a collision, the size of the claim. Then we have frequency. What is frequency? The number of claims, right? The number of claims somebody has. Aggregate models, where you mix these up, right? You connect your frequency, you connect with your severity, and you'll get an aggregate. So these things we are going to study in great detail. Together with this, we will study things like what? We will study things like policy modifications. What do you mean by that? We are talking about what? We're talking about deductibles. We're talking about policy limits. And in addition to all these things, folks, we're going to be talking about what? Reinsurance coverage. We are going to be talking about risk measures. We are going to be talking about stuff like loss elimination ratios. Yeah, all these things are very exciting, right? We'll be talking about individual risk models, collective risk models. And next thing there you see on the screen is introduction to credibility. We'll be talking about limited fluctuation credibility. How much of belief, right? Folks, how much of belief do you have in your data, right? If you have, if you have a lot of belief in your data, right? If you can depend on the data that you have, you give it higher credibility factors. That's it. So we're going to be dealing with some of those things. And then we have pricing and reserving for short-term insurance coverage. That's where we're going to use the book by Brown, right? And pricing and reserving, they are really, really important for us. Yeah, pricing, how much you want to, how much is somebody going to pay, yeah, for a certain insurance cover. And reserving, some of you are in the general insurance business will know about what? IBNR, incurred but not reported, yeah? Something has happened, you don't know about it, but you still need to keep aside some money so that you can pay the claims. So those things we will talk about in item number 5, right? Okay, and then we have what? Option pricing fundamentals. Option pricing, we will be dealing with basically the binomial model, okay? First the binomial model, we'll talk about single period, and then we'll talk about multi-period. And we also need to study the Black-Scholes formula, okay? They're fantastic things to study, right? Believe me, yeah. I get excited about these things because the beauty of mathematics, it comes out when you study things like Black-Scholes and so on, yeah. Anyway, so those are the broad topics that we study in FAM what? FAMS. I will tell you a lot more about this before we start in September, maybe a few weeks before that. I'll come out with the details that you need to know. Okay, so besides that, I think that's about it. I want to give you a quick summary, right? So that you know what to do. Okay, let's talk about the first workshop, right? First workshop, FAML. This FAML, right, we will be doing it in 10 lessons. 10 lessons. And each lesson is 2 hours long. Please attend, right, because it's very, very useful, right? Don't just depend on the recording. Come to class, ask me some questions, right? Okay, ask me some questions. Learn the stuff, right? This is what actuaries are made of, right? So we have 10 lessons, 2 hours each, Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay? And we are going to start 29th April. Okay? And we'll take you through to the July exam. Okay? July exam of FAML. And the classes will be online. and you have access to the recordings, right? Access to the recordings till March of 2024. So I think that will be to your advantage, right? You have access to the recordings until March of 2024. Okay, good. Now then we come to details of fees and early bird discounts. Very important, right? Details of fees and early bird discount. Get in touch with Kamlin, yeah? Get in touch with Kamlin. The number is there. You can call, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram her, okay? Miss Kamlin, she'll give you all the facts that you need, okay? She'll help you along. She knows she knows the course material, and she'll be able to give you appropriate guidance, okay? And she will tell you about all these fees, tell you about the fees and early bird discounts and so on. You can email her, okay? You can email her or you can email me. Hey, my email is down here. You can email me, okay? That's for workshop number 1, which is on FAML, and we have the second workshop, which is FAMS, that will start sometime later, 16th of September. Same thing, 10 lessons, 2 hours each, Saturdays 11 to 1. Okay, this 11 to 1 is Malaysian time. It's Malaysian time. So if you are in Australia, say, then just adjust for your timing differences. Yeah, this is Malaysian time. Okay, again, access to recordings up to March 2024. Very useful for you, right? And you know, you can have access to me, right? Anytime. I may come back to you. I like to come back to you under 24 hours. Okay. Usually I come back to you on the same day, but just in case I'm occupied with other things, by the next day I would have come back to you, answering your queries, right? Okay, then again, for your early bird discount and fees and so on, get in touch with Ms. Kamlin. She is extremely helpful. You can call her, WhatsApp her, or Telegram, and you can contact us by email. Okay, I think that's about it, I guess. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you'll be able to join us. We are the Faculty of Science and the University of Malaya. The University of Malaya is a premier university of this country. We run the best actuarial science program in Malaysia. And so I hope that you'll be able to join us. Stay the course, yeah? Stay the course. It is going to be a learning journey. It's not just learning. We want to succeed in the exams, okay? So with that in mind, I hope I'll be able to see you on the 29th of April when we start our FAML class. There will be another video on our FAML, which will come soon enough. Thank you very much for watching.